Hey, you know what? Growth mindset is really not optional. If you are not growing, you're dying. You need to engage in a journey of lifetime learning. If you stop learning, you start dying. So be curious, learn, read books, listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, watch videos or YouTube videos that will educate you and equip you with ideas that will help you to deal with a variety of things.
Welcome to Stewardology, a podcast where two worlds collide. In this show, financial advisor Tim Russell and Pastor Drew Gysi are joined by me, producer Tyler Rutherford, to explore the intersection of financial stewardship and theology. Their unique perspectives help Christians and churches understand and apply a biblical framework for everyday financial decisions so Christians everywhere can grow in their walk with Christ through biblical stewardship. Before we get started, we just wanted you to know that the topics discussed in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific investment advice or recommendations. Investment and investment strategies involve risk, including the potential loss of principal, and past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Securities and advisory services are offered through Genius Wealth Management, member FINRA, and SIPC. Without further ado, here are your hosts, Tim Russell, Drew Gysi, and Tyler Rutherford. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Stewardology Podcast. I'm Tyler, and I'm here with Tim Russell.
Hello.
And Drew Gysi.
Hey.
It's so hard to believe that 2025 is already coming to a close.
Yeah,
Christmas is next week. New Year's right around the corner.
We blinked.
It's crazy. But as we reflect on the year, one of the things I know, Tim, you like to do, you read a lot of books.
A couple.
Where are you at right now?
Well, it's October right now, the end of October, and I'm at 163. I'm on track for statistically 197. I'll hit 200 this year.
I'm not even close. That's awesome.
Actually, I have a whole spreadsheet here of all the books I've read, and it's the whole thing.
That's awesome. In a culture that likes to sit and doom scroll, reading a book is almost rare nowadays, I think. I think we'd rather consume our information on YouTube or scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, but reading a book is a really good practice to keep sharp on, to get knowledge through, to get wisdom. Yeah. We can grow a lot when we read books. It doesn't stop when school ends. I was talking to a friend of mine and I asked him, hey, what books have you been reading? And he looked at me and said, I think the last time I finished a book was my senior year of high school.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, we need to change that. So I gave him some book recs.
Awesome.
But I figured today it'd be fun just to share some of our book recs for the year. What have we read this year that we found interesting?
Before we jump into the book, Tim, why don't you explain one of our core values of our company and ministry is a growth mindset. Mm-hmm. So speak to that for a moment, because that's kind of why we're diving into this topic today.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting reading the same book for 2 years, not getting through it. And I had heard this quote, and I think there's a lot of truth to it. It says, you'll be the same person you are today in 5 years. You'll be the same person you are today, except for the books you read and the people you meet. Mm-hmm. That coming face to face with people and their ideas and books and their ideas are the things that are the change catalysts in our lives. So as I think about that in relation to how do we what's our business all about? I realize one of my core values, one of the things that is unique, I think, about our company is that we have a core value of lifetime learning, growth, reading, and that we are to have a growth mindset with regard to how we read books and how we engage with information and ideas. Because if we're not growing, then we're probably going to be in pretty rough shape if we're not finding new ideas and kind of wrestling with them and trying to figure out what's true.
Yeah. You might be thinking, what does this have to do with finances and stewardship? I mean, come on, I came here to talk about money. We have some finance books that we want to recommend to you. So they're in here. So you have to stick around for them.
Yep. There you go.
But let's get started with Drew. Hey, what kind of books have you read this year? What can you recommend to our audience?
Well, I got to say, I probably don't read as many books as I listen to books. I am really enjoying the listening aspect of books with Audible and other things, and I'll get some things and I'll put it up on my Kindle, and my Kindle will read it to me. So one of the ones that actually a gentleman who listens to our podcast on a regular basis wrote a book and reached out to me and has asked me for a review of it that he can post on his website and put out there. And his name is Andy Crocker, and we've emailed quite a few times, really have enjoyed my interaction with him. But he wrote a book called The Unconditionals. I thought it was quite intriguing. And the amazing thing is about Andy is he's a rocket scientist, a bona fide rocket scientist. And he worked for a company that actually went up against Musk and Bezos with doing some of the same kind of stuff, but they kind of swooped in with their very deep pockets and kind of got the contracts, so kind of took it away. But very intrigued in how he speaks about these things. And he talks about the 5 timeless unconditionals. He speaks about love, gratitude, integrity, accountability, and endeavor. And he breaks all those down chapter by chapter, goes into the nuances. Now, I got to say up front, not overtly Christian. He has quotes from all over the place, from Aristotle, even Muhammad, but yes, from the Word of God, some good Christian and world thinkers. Those quotes are built into it. But for someone that wants to kind of dive deeper into those areas of love, gratitude, integrity, accountability, and endeavor, and kind of see how that fits within you, I so enjoyed this book. I'm looking forward to it. So, Andy, if I haven't gotten to you by the time this releases, I will get something to you soon for your website, because I really enjoyed how you just broke each one apart, and some of the questions you put in there really hit me hard and got me to really think as I was driving. So I was driving and listening to it. So it's definitely one I would encourage our listeners to go find and track down, The Unconditionals by Andy Crocker.
Just so you, the audience, don't have to worry about writing these things down. Maybe you're driving. All of these books are going to be linked on our show notes page. So if you want these resources, that's where you can find the links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tim, Tag, you're it.
You know, I wrote a book this year. I did. Yeah, I did. I did. It's an audiobook too. So you can do audiobook,
so I can listen
paperback.
To it?
Yeah.
I've read it a couple times already.
It's good. I do encourage our listeners, if you want a good stewardship book to kind of think through money, finance, stewardship, a lot of the ideas we talk about in this podcast, the book is a really good place to kind of go deeper. So The Good Steward, I would encourage you to take a look at that. There are so many other great books, but one of the ones on the financial spectrum kind of deals with business. Build a Business You Love by Dave Ramsey is a new book that he put out this year. I thought it was enjoyable, a good read. I don't love everything Ramsey does, but this I thought was a helpful book. So if you have a business, I would encourage you to look at that one.
In the finance sphere, since we're kind of in that lane, I read a book in the spring that was recommended to me by I think you, Tim, The Mystery of Capital: Why Capitalism Triumphs in the West and Fails Everywhere Else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
By Hernando de Soto. It was just super interesting, but basically it examines exactly what the title alludes to. Why does capitalism seem to prosper in Western countries, and why does it fail in places where we either try to import capitalism to? The takeaways are very interesting. I'll give you kind of the really high-level answer to the question, but you really do need to read the book to get the substance of it. But essentially, the key lies in securing property rights, in secure property rights, and formalized ownership systems. So like if you actually own something, there's something to back it up. And that's why capitalism seems to succeed in the West. Again, read the book. It's nice and big. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, to continue on with the financial world, I've read a couple different ones. The Money Challenge, 30 Days of Discovering God's Design for You and Your Money by Art Rainier. Very good book. Simple, short, easy read. And one that I thought was really intriguing was, it was called Simple Money, Rich Life, Achieve the True Financial Freedom and Design a Life of Eternal Impact by Bob Lotek. as I was kind of listening to the book, he was drawing me into a greater mindset of kingdom purposes for finances. He has a website. He's got a lot of different things. He's really trying to help people not just get out of debt, but also have a heartbeat and mind of generosity. I think it was by the time he was 40 years of age, he was able to give away $1 million and also have his house paid off in full. And just using biblical principles of money management to help move things forward. I really appreciated it, and I think it's a good read when it comes to financial management.
Well, there's a rabbit hole I went down with an author, David Bahnsen. He's a Christian financial advisor serving millionaires and billionaire types. But he's written a couple books, one called Full Time. I would encourage everyone to read that book. I think it embraces a biblical worldview of work, and that work is a good thing, and that laziness is probably a bigger problem in the church than workaholism. So get to work, take responsibility, do the thing. But he does it from a Christian worldview and from a Christian perspective, and I really appreciate that. Another thing that I thought was helpful from Bahnsen was there's no free lunch. I know I've referenced that here. It's really just a distillation of various economic thinkers as they relate to different topics. And it was a really good overview of what does the scope of kind of conservative biblical economic thinking applied to our context. What are people saying and how are people processing these things? I found it really helpful.
Well, I'm going to transition into a book that wasn't finance related, but I read this book probably once every other year because I'm a weird conspiracy theorist.
You're one of those. Where's the tinfoil hat?
I'm not quite a conspiracy theorist, but I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of this book, 1984 by George Orwell.
Yeah.
No, that's a great book.
It's so good.
Classic.
I read it in high school, and you kind of see a little bit of that book come to life every so often. And in 2025, it's no exception. But essentially, it's this dystopian novel that explores what a totalitarian world looks like, where government surveillance, propaganda, control over truth and speech, and freedom, independent thought, it just takes over. What does that look like? And man, you should read it. It's a chilling portrayal of what loss of privacy and all these things could look like.
2025? Is that what the book was called?
Crimes. Yeah.
Was it called 2025?
It's funny. I think this book was written in the 40s or 30s.
Yeah.
I remember reading it. It was either in
Back
late
in the 30s.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Back in the 30s.
Boy, make me feel good. It was either in late elementary or early junior high, and it was so far away that it was like, wow, this could. And now we're in 2025, and it's like,
when did you
wow.
graduate high school? What year?
You're trying to show my age,
I'm
aren't
just
you?
exposing it to the world. Yeah.
Expose it to the world. That's fine. I graduated in high school in 1982.
Okay, so the 1984 year was right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
That must have been an interesting time.
What was interesting was reading it before 1984 and thinking, is this going to happen? But now we're living in 2025, and it's like, what isn't happening?
Yeah.
Well, the reality is it could be a lot worse. But yes, I think 1984 is healthy because you read it and you say, that seems like a really scary future, right? And you can do things now to avoid that future.
Well,
not that we have control, God is sovereign over all, but I think it's a really good example of what happens when you get too complacent and you just let government run and trample all over you.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the ones I actually enjoy, and Tyler, you said you go back too often. Here's my go back too often book, and I don't read it, I listen to it because the author is the one that reads it. It's called Dangerous Calling by Paul Tripp, and I will tell you, it's one of the best snapshots of pastoral ministry that I have ever read or heard. I have recommended this book to so many pastors that are out there, and more so, men that are aspiring to be pastors. I just spoke to a gentleman within the last month, and he was saying that he was interested in becoming a pastor. I said, do yourself a favor and read this book. And if you believe you can serve the Lord wholeheartedly, knowing what is being seen and read to you in this book, then press on and move forward. Because I like the title, Dangerous Calling. It is so true. If you, as maybe a non-pastor, want to learn the inside world of what a pastor goes through, this book, Dangerous Calling by Paul Tripp, would be a great one for you to go and listen to. Just the first couple chapters, when I read it, I have to be when I listen to it, I have to be at home, because if I'm driving, I literally, and I have multiple times, had to pull off the side of the road, decompress, wipe the tears off, regroup, and then get going, because he speaks to it with such reality of the life of a pastor.
It's great. Sounds like a good read. The book I've probably recommended the most this year to different people is Blind Spots: When Medicine Gets It Wrong and What It Means to Our Health. This is by Marty McCary. He's a MD, medical doctor, and is also now the head of the FDA. So this is not some kind of quack conspiracy theorist guy, but holy cow, he starts out with the peanut allergy and how we caused the peanut epidemic in America.
Really?
America and England, by doing the exact opposite of the thing that we should have done to prevent allergies. They said that in order to prevent allergies, avoid the allergen. Don't give kids peanuts until they're like 1, 2, 3 years old. The longer you wait, the better it is. That is the exact wrong thing to do. That caused the allergen to happen. And when people ended up getting it, their body hadn't developed the antibodies to resist the proteins or the enzymes within peanuts that caused real severe allergies. And it was the medical world in its hubris thinking it knew better. And here's what to do, with great audacity, with great courage and charisma, and with a refusal to acknowledge that they totally messed up. So he's writing about this thing, and there's still doctors today just don't even get it. They don't realize that it was their own recommendation that caused it. So he starts tracking that same idea, medical hubris, and the failure to have humility and the failure to allow dissenting views.
Wow.
There was no ability to have a debate about something. It was settled science. Settled science was, this is what we think is the case. This is what we think needs to happen. Therefore, anyone who doesn't agree with what the group think has determined is the narrative, then we're going to defame you. We're going to deplatform you. We're going to take away your license.
Wow.
Because you have the nerve to question settled science. And they track it through like everything from COVID to our cholesterol and heart health to cancer. Ovarian cancer is a really interesting chapter. The birth industry, holy cow. I felt like I heard my wife talking to me the entire time, because these are things that she's been telling me as a midwife for years. The medical world just totally gets it wrong. And again, Marty's just documenting these things and showing the, here are the studies that back this up. And here's where the medical world just totally would not allow any kind of dissenting view. I think more and more people need to read Blind Spots and start taking ownership of your own medical decisions and not just blindly following a groupthink, broken medical society, until we can actually replace some of the people at the top of our medical world that are just so broken in the way they think about health and everything else. I think we really have to be very skeptical about the medical world. Yes, I know. Not everyone hearing me is going to like to hear me say it, but I do believe it.
I'm not the only conspiracy theorist at the table.
You know what? I need to step off set. I got to go get some peanuts.
Well, what do they say? The difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth is what, 6 months?
Yeah. About that, yeah.
Something like that.
One of the books I read this year, and I've always appreciated this author, Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
I was actually a few years back in Germany, and I was at the concentration camp that he was executed in.
Flottenberg or something like that. Flossenberg. Yeah.
But he wrote a book called The Cost of Discipleship, and I just finished the book recently. I love it. I love that book. It was the first time I read it. I can't believe it took me that long to get to that book. Yep. But he contrasts this idea of what's called cheap grace, which is like this version of Christianity that gets you all the benefits, right? The forgiveness and all that, but none of the, I hesitate to use the word work, but none of the repentance, right? None of the things that go into like the costly obedience to Christ. And I just thought that was a really good wake-up call to be like, yep, okay, Americans in the 21st century, we need to, when we say I follow Jesus, there are certain things that means, right? And we need to run after Christ with all that we have and really get into it and repent. Like do that hard work. Salvation is not of works, but it's by grace through faith. But it challenges you. You know what I mean? It challenges you. It makes you feel uncomfortable because it challenges the comfortable Christianity that perhaps a lot of us have been accustomed to over the years.
And I think you said it well. It's the American Christian, and that's where we're seeing that. And that's where Bonhoeffer was not an American Christian. He saw things through a different lens, lived it through a whole different life. And I think that's so important to realize that we have created this American Christianity culture that needs to be at times just shaken to its core.
Well, let's do 2 more books from each of us. Let's focus on a book that we think everyone really like. Let's read this one. This is a really good informational, like knowledge-based book, theological, financial, practical living. And then, if we can, just a fun read. So if you have something like that. So Drew, do you want to start us off?
You want both at the same time?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Well, you said you're more of a theological one.
Well, it could be. It didn't have to be,
It doesn't have to be. Oh, man, you're making me pick from my multiplicity of lists here.
Drew's list here is very long.
My list is long.
I've got like the most books that I've read, and my list is actually relatively short.
Yeah. So there's truth. I think probably when it comes to more the theological biblical one is one called Basic Biblical Prophecy, Essential Facts Every Christian Should Know by Ron Rhodes. I thought it was very well done. And to me, it was, going back to our last episode, it was a great tune-up for me. It helped me kind of put those theological pieces together, and I really enjoyed that. I've read a couple of his books on theology, and he's done a really good job. And I'm gonna jump another one in there, kind of looking forward, and that is American Crusade by Our Fight to Stay Free by Pete Hegseth. He did this quite a while ago, before he is now the head of the Department of War that we have today. But
Actually, I just read that book like a week ago. Yeah,
did you really? What was your take on it?
Mostly good. Mostly good. So if you read any of his other stuff, he's modified a couple of his views in there.
He has. I like that same thing, but I like some of his thinking that was forward thinking about what we need to do in our country.
I thought it was helpful that he identified here are the things that we need to war against.
Yes.
And he's not talking about violence. He's not talking about physical violence or taking up arms. He's talking about in the sphere of ideas, we need to give no quarter to certain isms. So he talks about leftism, socialism, communism, Islamism. It just talks about all of these things that are and showing how they're problematic within the broader scope of our just and civil society.
Yeah, it was good. One that I think will probably go into my listen to every year to 2 years, and that is a book called Fearless. The Undaunted Courage and the Ultimate Sacrifice of Navy SEAL Team 6 operator Adam Brown.
That is a phenomenal book.
Jaw-dropping.
Yes.
That book was so well done.
Yes.
When I think of heroes of the United States, this guy rises all the way to the top, if not real close to the top.
Yeah.
Just amazing. I don't want to give the story away, but if you want to have a good read about an act of courage and just unwavered direction and focus and passion for our country like I have not seen or heard of in any other soldier. And I get the joy of rubbing shoulders with men who are in our service. Thank you so much for serving in that way. This guy has taken it to a whole new level. I understand that they're going to, I'm going to use my words, try to make a movie of his life. Don't even think it's going to be able to come close to what I read in that amazing book.
I love
what was your take on it?
Well, yeah, a lot of the same. It's been years since I've read it, and I read a lot, so I couldn't pick out a particular thing. I just remember I was really impressed with the story.
Riveting.
Yeah.
Totally riveting.
Well, I'll go next because, Tim, I think it'd be great for you to finish off the episode.
Okay.
And two books that I thought were really great. One that really impacted my prayer life was A Praying Life by Paul Miller.
Yeah.
We went through that as a staff.
We did that as a staff here.
Yeah. It's just a great book that really makes you reflect on what prayer is, why it's important, really even also how to do it. And spoiler alert, the things that you learn growing up may be helpful, may not be helpful. So this book was really great for that. One book that was on a different topic, The Warrior Poet Way by John Lovell. He's also a special forces operator. He was Army Ranger. Just a great book on masculinity in a culture that tends to war on like men being men. This was a great refresher, especially now being a dad to a little girl. Like, how do I do that kind of thing well? That book was phenomenal. I probably will read it every year, every other year. Short read, easy read. Fun book series that I read. I finished the Chronicles of Narnia series this year. It's been a long time since I read the series. That was great. I love books that are fiction, but that reflect a reality, like C.S. Lewis being a Christian writer and all of the little like metaphors and the things that he points to as realities of the Christian life and even realities of God himself in this book just make me marvel. I love it.
Well, you took one of mine. I wanted to say John Lovell's.
Oh, yeah?
The Warrior Poet Way. I gave a copy of that to my boys. I want them to read it. I want them to kind of think through what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to be a warrior? Like according to John Lovell, to be a man, to truly embrace masculinity is to be a warrior. So to defend your family, to fight for the things that matter, right? But also to be soft, to be a poet, to be a lover, to be a good dad. So this warrior poet is his idea of matching both the aggressive external, it's like the outside of the house that protects everything in from the weather, the rain, the invaders coming into your home. You need to be warrior, protecting those inside from the outside, but inside the home, you need to be soft and gentle and loving, like loving your wife and pursuing her and loving your children and being gentle with them and being meek in your family. I love the idea. And then he just kind of wraps it out with recommendations at the end of every chapter. So here's what I want you to do to go practice this idea, go do this. And I love the idea. The one chapter is recommendations. Go to the range, guns, get lots of guns. Go to the range, get used to shooting, go hunting, eat what you kill. I love it. It's just such a great book. So I'll echo that. And then you mentioned as your fun book is the Chronicles of Narnia. Let me throw another C.S. Lewis out there, the Space Trilogy. You know what? The last of the Space Trilogy is called This Hideous Strength. And each of the Space Trilogy books gets better as they go. So the first one, Out of the Silent Planet, and then I forget the second book. It's escaping me off the top of my head. It's where they go to Venus, and there's like this whole like Paralandria. This is the name of the second one. They go to the Paralandria, Venus, and see this whole like first Adam and Eve kind of figures in this story, and Satan and the whole like Garden of Eden and all that happened, and Ransom trying to wrestle with what's my responsibility here? How do I deal with Satan trying to corrupt this beautiful, perfect world that was created, and these beings who are the father and mother of the world, and just so powerful, like just really interesting ideas. And then going to the last book, This Hideous Strength, it's like 1982. It's a Christian version of 1982, and it feels like it could have been written last year. It's just so powerful. Super interesting. Some of the stuff is weird. Yeah, the whole Merlin stuff, it's a little weird, but the story is riveting. I really recommend it. So if you want to listen to a good, interesting, fictional, but yet spiritually enriching book, a C.S. Lewis space trilogy, especially This Hideous Strength, but you got to go all of them in order. It's absolutely worth it. And if I can throw one more fun one in there, because I love me a good fun book, I would encourage you. The James Harriet books are just so fun. So it's all creatures, great and small, all things bright and beautiful, all creatures big and small. There's several books there. It's about a country vet in the Yorkshire Dales in England, and his adventures in veterinary medicine. It's just heartwarming, endearing, fun. They're just great. They're a great read. If you watch the BBC show, there's a new one out there that's also based on the books, very loosely based on the books, and you kind of have to do it differently in the video than you do in the books. It's really good. I really enjoy it.
So the whole point of this episode was to share what we've been learning and processing in terms of books that we've read. And that's really because of our core value of having a growth mindset. So to finish off the episode, Tim, every staff meeting, to give you guys a peek into the inside a little bit, every staff meeting we go over a core value that our organization has. So Tim, can you give us the core value of growth mindset as we close out?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Growth mindset is really not optional. If you are not growing, you're dying. So gentlemen, you need to engage in a journey of lifetime learning. If you stop learning, you start dying. So be curious, learn, read books, listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks, watch videos or YouTube videos that will educate you and equip you with ideas that will help you to deal with a variety of things. You will be amazed at how desperate or disparate ideas and like different genres will give you ideas that will help you make a decision in one or two things. So I'll tell you one example is that I've been reading books on economics. Thomas Sowell did not even come up, but you should read everything Thomas Sowell wrote. So good. So helpful. One of the things he talks about is recognizing not just the first order effect, this is the thing you're trying to deal with, but the second, third, and fourth order effects. And as I'm dealing with a variety of things in the business and looking at what are we doing, I'm reminded, I'm hearing Thomas Sowell in the back of my mind saying, Tim, don't forget the second, third order effects. If you do this, then what do they do? And how does that affect this? And how does this affect the other thing over there? So reading broadly, reading widely will help you be a better leader, a better thinker, a better parent, a better spouse, a better employee, a better human, a better Christian. Read broadly. So we're learners. We're in search not just of knowledge alone, but we're looking for is wisdom. We need wisdom is the ultimate thing that we need to help our clients to navigate through uncertainty. That means we need to read books, listen to podcasts, and other educational experiences for the joy of learning to embrace wisdom. We are also resilient. That means that we embrace failure. A growth mindset means that it's not win or lose, it's win or learn. We embrace failure. Not that we're seeking failure, not that we are being lazy to engage in failure, but we know that when things don't go according to plan, it's a great learning opportunity. And then thirdly, we are curious. What matters to our clients matters to us. We ask good questions to better understand the lives, the motives of our clients. And if we do these three things, if we demonstrate a growth mindset, there is no telling what God will do with this world, what God will do with this company, and what God will do in the lives of our clients and all those that we get to touch through the ministry of Stewardology Podcast, Life Institute, and the work of the Life Financial Group.
You know, there's three scriptures we put down there to kind of meditate on. Tim, why don't you take the first, you take the second, I'll take the third. Let's share it with our audience.
Yeah, I mean, Proverbs 1:5, there's so much good stuff there, but let the wise hear and increase in learning, and he who understands obtain guidance.
Proverbs 18:15 says, an intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge.
Philippians 4:9. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. You know, what great verses that we have about learning, growing, seeking knowledge and wisdom and understanding. And maybe there's some that are saying, you know, it's all got to be about the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. I get that. I'm a former pastor. We shared many different books that we've really enjoyed that were biblically based. But it doesn't always have to be that way. We also broaden the horizons. We went outside of that. Many of us, all of us have. So we want to encourage you, be that constant learner. Scripture encourages us to go deeper, wider. Be a learner of finances. Tim said it earlier. You know, read some books on finances. Listen to a podcast on finances. We actually happen to know of a really good book on finances. What's that book called again?
It's called The Good Steward, Biblical Principles in Wealth Management.
There you go, by yours truly, Tim Russell. And then a good podcast. Thank you for those, every one of you that takes time out of your day, maybe your drive, and schedules a listen with us. We are grateful for that. But let's keep moving on. We got 2026 literally right around the corner. What can you do to go deeper, wider, and further in your knowledge of God and also your curiosity of the world to become an even better steward in 2026 and beyond?
Until next time, take care, God bless, and read a good book.
Thanks for joining us on the Stewardology Podcast, where financial stewardship and theology meet. We'd like to help you take your next steps in biblical financial stewardship. Subscribe in your podcast provider to get the newest episode delivered to you every week. Leave a 5-star rating and review to help new listeners find the show. Take advantage of your free personal stewardship review at stewardologypodcast.com/review. Be sure to follow us on social media and visit our website at stewardologypodcast.com for tons of free resources and hundreds of free episodes. You can also leave episode ideas at stewardologypodcast.com/idea. Remember, Psalm 20, verse 7, some trust in chariots and some trust in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. See you next week.